Yeah, exactly. Okay. Did they send you the resolution? No, okay, it might be another. Thanks. I can find his number in my email, yeah.
Just say when he sends it, have him
Oh, so he already registered, he said there was a space he can note that he's just on standby, he doesn't have to come in.
okay, so he's in there, because they were saying they haven't seen him.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna text
Do
him.
they still haven't seen him in there, or is that, is that consultant's not showing? He hasn't come in. Okay, I think he said that there was like a place to be on standby, but he's, so, we're not seeing him, so
Okay.
we just have him register, and then it'll be like he's a speaker, but they won't call him as a speaker.
Right, yeah.
We'll have, okay. think he did something different, so. Okay. If he needs to, he will call the clerk of the board. She's gonna provide the number.
Okay.
But if he just registers at a speaker, I think.
Yeah, he said he did. I wonder why it's not showing up there. No.
Very nice. Rolling. Yeah, it has a river road through it. Deer and bobcats.
Okay.
He's good? Okay. Yes, please.
Good morning. I now call this February 11th, 2026 standing of County Board of Supervisors 20th legislative session to order. Ryan, please call the roll for today's session.
Thank you, Chair Lawson. Supervisor Anderson. Supervisor Desmond. Here. Chair Pro Tem Geary.
Here.
Vice Chair Montgomery Scott.
Here.
And Chair Lawson.
Here. Before we begin, I'll take a moment to address our House rules. Public engagement is the cornerstone of transparent and accountable government. And these Board of Supervisors meetings are one of the primary venues where all San Diegans can make their voices heard. Our county is committed to a work environment free from unlawful discrimination and harassment, including sexual, racial, religious, age, disability, or any other forms of discrimination and harassment. Under the board's rules, speakers may not use loud, shouting, threatening, impertinent, slanderous, profane, or abusive language to any member of the board, staff, or the general public. Additionally, all remarks and questions must remain on topic during the duration of your speaking time and must be addressed to the board and not to staff. Any speaker who engages in comments that break the rules will be issued a warning. After one warning, you will be asked to leave the chamber for the remainder of the meeting. Finally, speakers threatening violence may be reported to law enforcement and removed. This is a space for community engagement, deliberation, and progress, not harassment, violence, and hate. We now proceed with the closed session report. Council, is there a report for yesterday's closed session?
Yes, good morning. The Board of Supervisors met in closed session on February 10th, 2026, from 4:06 p.m. to 4:44 p.m. 4 board members were present for items 17A and 17B, with Chair Lawson Reamer absent. All members were present for items 17C and 17D. Chair Lawson Reamer and Vice Chair Montgomery Stubb recuse themselves from item 17E. The board took no repeatable actions. End of report.
All right, thank you. We now proceed with non-agenda public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on subject matters within our jurisdiction, but not an item on our meeting agenda today. And the only action we may take is a referral to the CAO. Under board rules, speakers may speak once per meeting for non-agenda public comment, either yesterday or today, but not in those sessions. To better facilitate the meeting, we will have 5 speakers in person and 5 speakers by phone, and the remainder of non-agenda public comment will be heard at the close of today's session. Additionally, in accordance with board rules, for any discussion item with 10 or more speakers, individuals will have 1 minute to share their opinion at the chair's discretion. According to Rule 4A, members of the public that are non-English speakers and interpretation assistance receive twice the allotted time for comments. And a final reminder, audience members shall not whistle, clap, stop, beat, or do anything that disrupts the proceedings. If you disrupt the meeting, you will be given 1 warning. After that warning, if you disrupt the meeting again, you will be directed to the chamber for the remainder of the meeting. Ryan, please call speakers.
Thank you, Chair Lawson Reamer. We have 13 total requests to speak on matters not listed on the agenda, 3 individuals in person, and 10 requesting to speak by phone. For those that requested to speak by phone, you can please dial into the conference line now using those instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, if you can please come forward and stay on the arrows until it's your turn to speak at the podium. You'll then have 2 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the audio record. I'd like to invite forward the first 3 individuals, Paul Huey, Rick Robinson, and Robert Herman. You may come forward in any order.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Paul Healy. I've been a member of the Crest-Tehisa Harbison County Grandfield Planning Group for a little over a year now. I'm on seat 7 from Tehisa. I'm still learning policy and procedure. It's my understanding that the purview of the planning group is planning and land use and not politics. And that's the reason I'm here this morning. At the most recent meeting on February 9th, Chairman Ron Naring invited Bill Wells, the mayor of El Cajon, to speak to the group. After a brief introduction and a short talk on El Cajon, negotiating with the owners of Parkway Plaza, Mr. Wells spoke of the homeless situation in El Cajon, and then launched into a diatribe about the state government tying his hands on the matter. At that point, I called a point of order and explained to Chairman Naring that the use of the meeting to promote political agendas was unacceptable and lacking any relevance to planning and land use. He dismissed my concern and asked the mayor to continue. Not being familiar with the procedure and unaware of any recourse, I left the meeting. This was not the first time Mr. Naring invited political cronies to address the group. Last March, an insurance agent named Jim Kelly was invited to speak on insurance matters related to land use. This same Jim Kelly has been a trustee on the Grossmont Union High School District Board for over a decade and a longtime political ally of Mr. Naring. It didn't take long for Mr. Kelly's talk to turn into a blame game.
Thank you, sir. That's your time.
Excuse me?
I said, thank you, sir. That's your time.
That's it?
That's 2 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do have documentation of
You can go
what
ahead.
Sir, your time is up, but thank you so much for being here. If you hand the documents to the clerk, we will all be able to review them.
Okay, thank you.
And go ahead, Rob.
So we have Vincent Valletti, who's the Director of Planning and Development Services. If you want to communicate with him in the front row, he will get your information and we will follow up with you to business report from County Council as needed to help facilitate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And yes, it's your time. Thanks.
Robert German. The question at the last meeting that I wanted a supervisor to ask, and I want to thank Supervisor Warren for asking the question, if everybody was notified, or some people, was what is actually going to be built at Gillespie? Border Patrol was already there. All they have to do is ask for a bigger building, and that seems to be the pattern that Gillespie uses. So, just FYI. These are the public areas that have been closed by the airport with no due process, in my opinion. Pools, gymnasiums, raceways, motocross, Camp Gillespie, which was a basketball, all this stuff that's highlighted, has been closed by Gillespie with no due process, no notification. I looked at the planning commission, I can't find anything. The only people that have a say-so on this, and I was hoping Supervisor Stout might say something last meeting, is the San Diego County Regional Airport Authority. And they're not elected. Citizens are not immune. We closed an airport just last month. No notice. Did anybody up here know about it? Did the planning commission know about it? Did Joel Anderson, our supervisor out there in Laredo, know about it? Did you know that they closed an airport? The house was packed at Gillespie Field Development Council with pilots. So they don't discriminate against citizens and pilots. This system is flawed. And that's exactly what was pointed out in the two reports that I've given you 6 months or a year ago. They're a rogue agency. They answer to nobody. They're not elected. And I think there's some serious problems here when they start closing stuff. According to an attorney who met me afterwards at a city council meeting of El Cajon, they're supposed to reserve 20% for public use at the airport. They don't do it. Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, Ricky Robinson here. I am the paternal grandfather of Alika and Zaya Robinson. As you know, they've been kidnapped. They want to force adopt these girls out next week. Evelyn Lopez completed her case plan. She has 2 new twin siblings. I'm an elder. I've been abused here in San Diego County. Yesterday I was ambushed in a retaliatory restraining order done by Nicole Monzigo, the county council, I don't know her name yet, Judge Morales, a caregiver, Norma Oliveras. I'm not supposed to say my granddaughter's names, Malika and Zaya. So I guess the deputies here, if they want to arrest me, this is your time. I'm not supposed to say a caregiver's name trying to steal the children. Norma Oliveras. We just want the children back. I'm asking the board to stop the adoption. 3 years, I can't see my granddaughters. Child and family well-being, these are a bunch of liars and I can prove it. We had a lot of recordings on David Miller, a social worker, using terroristic tactics on Evelyn Lopez. I have so many recordings. I'm going to post them pretty soon. But we just want the girls back. I'm not doing this blog for attention like they accused me of. I do not like being up here. I want to enjoy my golden years. As you know, my mother passed away November 7th. I still haven't laid her to rest because that's under an investigation. But can you help get the girls back and get them back to their mother? Or are you going to walk out on me like you did, when was it, June? Anyway, thank you.
It is your turn to speak. You'll be unmuted. You'll hear a recording. That'll you begin your comments. We'll go ahead and begin with our first caller.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Becky Rapp, and I'm a public health educator, and I respectfully urge you to not expand marijuana businesses into the backcountry. Land use decisions are public health decisions, and when you increase the physical presence of a substance in a community, you increase normalization, visibility, and access. That matters, especially in rural areas where prevention infrastructure is already limited. The backcountry is unique. Families live far apart, schools are smaller, access to mental health care, substance use treatment, and emergency response is often limited. And expanding commercial commercial marijuana into areas with limited prevention and treatment capacity places communities at greater risk. It is also critical that the decision not be made solely based on equity arguments or out of moral obligation to expand access. Equity is about protecting communities from harm, not increasing exposure to products that carry known public health risks. True equity means ensuring vulnerable populations, including youth in rural areas, are not disproportionately impacted by a predatory industry simply because expansion is framed as fairness. Public policy must be grounded in science, long-term health outcomes, infrastructure capacity, and community readiness. I urge you to prioritize prevention, public safety, and the long-term well-being of families in the backcountry. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to our next speaker.
Good morning, board. My name is Kathleen Liggett, and as an attendee of Fallbrook, Valley, Planters, and several others, I appreciate Chair Reamer's opening remark that primary public engagement is the cornerstone of government. But that should mean not just listening, but incorporating the concerns of all residents, not just those who support your political agendas. The failure to listen to alternative positions is reflected in this ordinance one-sided positions on every single concern that unincorporated residents requested of you and asked you to look at. The concerns, evidence, research, and voices of unincorporated residents have been ignored since 2021 when you promised that they would be listened to and acted upon. The board majority and those economically conflicted with passing an ordinance that will change the lives, the land, the water, and the wildlife for generations, if not in perpetuity, should be unacceptable to those who are in office temporarily. Backcountry residents have fought to protect rural environments, infrastructure, air quality, and they concerned about their already limited resources of code enforcement and law enforcement. The speakers that came together to address both the county's land use and equity ordinance fell into two categories. One, those who have economic conflicts of interest, and the other, those who were concerned with their lives, their homes, and their properties. Yes, cannabis is legal in California and it should be regulated, but it's not. It is not.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go ahead and go to our next caller.
Lynn Kruger, good morning, Commissioner, and thank you for taking my call. I have owned horses privately for 30 years, and so I do know what proper care looks like. It's consistent feeding, veterinarian oversight, and daily attention. Horses do not become emaciated or die repeatedly without warning. Yet, horses on marketed roads have suffered for years, dying, cited severe distress, or removed under warrant. A horse named Teddy died in 2025. Randy Crosby revealed severe malnutrition and muscle atrophy, neglect beyond what aging alone would cause. 2 additional horses were seized in September 2025 related to underweight and poor condition. Both now are stable under county contracted veterinarian care, proving their suffering was preventable. Deborah Barkley, the owner, is currently on probation. That gives the county legal authority to step in, enhance supervision, monitor the property, and ensure the animals are safe. And still, the ranch remains in full operation. Now advocates are documenting that horses are being moved. This is opposed to the repeated violations is not neutrality, it's complicity. Every day this ranch is in operation, more horses risk starvation, injury, and death. The county must act now, step in now, shut this ranch down now, protect these horses now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. We'll go to our next caller.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Terry Skelly. I'm a parent and public health educator and a county planning group member. There are some simple county policies that this Board of Supervisors can put into place to improve health care of our county residents. They were suggested by the U.S. Surgeon General recently in his 2025 report, which was entitled Eliminating Smoking and Vaping-Related Disease and Death, Addressing Disparities. It stated that smoking and vaping tobacco and marijuana create unclean air, which has a much higher toll on the less advantaged people. Every county resident, regardless of their financial or living situation, should benefit equally from clean air. These policies include Policy 1, adopt tobacco and marijuana smoke-free and vape-free policies for housing and public places, and Policy number 2, make smoking and vaping tobacco and marijuana products less appealing and less available. The Surgeon General advises that the advertising, promotion, billboards, and sponsorship of smoking and vaping products be highly restricted and limit the number of density of retailers of smoking and vaping products, whether it's tobacco, marijuana, or CBD products. Because the stores for tobacco, marijuana, or CBD smoking and vaping products notoriously locate in communities of concern. Now is the time for our Board of Supervisors to hold the line. No more stores that sell tobacco, marijuana, or CBD smoking, vaping products in our county unincorporated area. Thank you for hearing my concerns this morning.
Thank you. We'll go to our final speaker for the morning.
Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm voting constituents for Supervisor Monica Steffi. I find the Department of Animal Services stepped up and fired a lady that was supposed to love the dogs and take care of them. And Marisa stepped down after 1.5 years working there. What kind of facility is it that so many people are stepping down or getting fired when they're supposed to be loving and doing their job properly? But I still have to, there's a lot more work to do because I suspect there's corruption going on between Deborah Barclay's ranch and the county animal shelter. Horses are dying, being grossly neglected. Everybody is looking the other way at the Department of Animal Services. I also suspect there's probably a payoff to the Department of Animal Services to leave Deborah Barkley alone and not open a case against her for the neglect that's going on with her horses. I would like to know why the horses are still there, in the rain, in the stall. Supervisor Lawson-Weaver, yes, I know you're looking down. Supervisor Cheryl Lawson-Weaver needs to resign today, not tomorrow, but today. I do not support MLBs, and I will not tolerate in my county. Animals do have a voice and depend on our voice speaking for them. I am putting this on record that Cheryl Lawson-Weaver is causing, yes, she is causing the horses to be emaciated in this county, and horses are dropping dead, and she does not care. The Board of Supervisors fails to protect the animals, dogs, and the horses, and refuses to care about their welfare. I want an investigation on not only the Department of Animal Services, but also an investigation on the Board of Supervisors that are sitting up there this week.
Thank you. Your time is up. And Chair Lawson, remember that concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this morning. Again, all remaining speakers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session.
Okay, thank you very much. We now proceed to the formation of the consent agenda. That's item 24. All items are consent or removed on the motion. Individuals can comment on the consent agenda items after the discussion. Vice Chair on the discussing the items for comments. No questions or comments. Okay, we have a motion by the Vice Chair. Chairperson Mr. Hilton. Okay, any comments or questions? Supervisor Devon?
Yes, I just want to make a couple of comments on items 1, 2, and 4. comments. I want to thank the Department of Public Works, Marissa and Raleigh and the whole team for supporting us here in North County with these some of these items. Include 2 traffic signals for Fallbrook, Cold Grade Road, Valley Center improvements, and completing the South Mission Green Street project. A lot of people in North County have to drive to get to work, to go shopping, bring kids to school, and lots of walking or commuting. There's not a lot of walking or commuting or bicycling to work. So these road improvement projects go a long way in North County, and we want to say thank you very much. I appreciate all the hard work and effort.
Okay, thank you very much. Supervisor Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a quick question of staff on item 1. We have the Lake Jennings Park Road, Almonte, Julian Avenue in Lakeside, street light going in. And while I understand it's 3/4 of a mile from another street light, generally more than a half mile, you can't have them sync. Is there any technology, are we doing anything special? That road is used heavily during commute times to get from Highway 8 to 67 and vice versa. And moving away from the stop sign is going to be a huge step up because it really slows down the morning. But are there any technologies that you're going to be using to improve that so that it's not backing up traffic?
Thank you, Supervisor Anderson, through the chair.
Please identify which items on the consent agenda you were speaking about.
Definitely an investigation into the Board of Supervisors is necessary, and that's already going to happen because California is on the chopping block. Yes, it's interesting to see all the things you guys do and care about, but you don't care about animals or children, being abused, ripped apart from their families, things like that. And so for all of your projects that you want to do with this green streets and bring in walking and biking, and all that stuff, and potential pollution control. You realize you're never going to control pollution when they are spraying things above us and it's falling down upon us. And until you recognize things like that and, start wanting to mitigate those things, you're always going to be getting more money to pretend to stop pollution and climate change, like we can actually stop it, right, when it's geoengineering and people are doing it. But as I always say, that fits into your plan very nicely, so if you ever admitted it, it would look really bad. But you should do that because you should turn away from lying to the people and doing all of these things for money. I mean, shoot, yesterday, just for $313,000, you guys were all like going bananas over it. And it's like, you don't even get that excited about helping animals, helping the homeless, helping children not be adopted out and having the termination of their family. But it's not you guys, right? I mean, Tara, if you were looked at, don't you think that you posting on a Tinder site with your daughter and your leg spread would be something that potentially the agency would look at and go, maybe she's not fit to be a parent? Right, that would never happen because you would allow it, and you're the ringleader of the child trafficking network. So it's okay to make up stuff and torment children, right? Because you get paid a pretty penny for it. So it's interesting to see you guys jump through so many different hoops for money, because you're money whores, and just let people suffer in the process. So good job.
We are in our twilight years and we have earned learning, and we strive to earn also your respect. We elected you, and so we are obliged to be bound to help you all together to accomplish our vision for the survivability of San Diegans, our region, our America. We speak from our heart and pray from our Almighty God that we ought to use our 10-finger intelligences. All of these consent agenda items, these are routine, yes, except for item number 3 and number 7. These are all about shelter, money, rural and urban planning. Please, let's work together. Concentrate, because this is a blueprint. Land use model, department head, please, listen from us, elders. We have seen it. My wife traveled all around the world. Rome is filthy of urine smell. You know that. The city hall, the superior court, smells urine. Ma'am River, what can we do? Ma'am Aguirre, this is our platform. We help together and we recommend solution. Let's research, study more, because this is now the start of a new modern sheltering. Thank you, thank you, God, thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear from those that have requested to speak by phone. When it's your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments, and we will go ahead and begin with our first caller.
Good morning. Proposal number 1, award of a construction contract, 20% contingency fee is outrageous. This means that the contractor gets to keep the money and interest and hopefully refunds the unused portion. We're also told that the list of traffic signals to be installed is reviewed annually. I see no annual review in the documents or anything, and I'm wondering whether these are actually reprioritized by actual endangered people. A lot of these traffic lights are ridiculous. For instance, traffic lights at freeway stops, and we're spending an average of 1.4 mil per intersection. 3, extension time. This project should have been completed in 2015, but the developer had 2 time extensions, one for 2 years, which somehow lasted for 9, and another for 2 years. This scheme will just keep the land tied up, unproductive, not helping the homeless or disadvantaged, and enrich the developer. There are lots of cons. The only pro is that the county gets a little interest. Call it a kickback reimbursement. You should build cheaper housing, which is quicker to build. 3D printed, tiny homes, kitchen crate homes, maybe adobe homes. We keep telling you, these would not only be cheaper, but also keep up with the market for new homes better. Instead of houses that might not be built for years, then it would be less likely to end up with an oversupply of homes. There needs to be more than 5 or 10% of truly low-income houses. 30% AMI is a bit.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors, Ann Riddle. I came to speak to items 1, 2, and 4 on the consent. I too, in the North County residents, are appreciative of those safety measures that are put into effect that make driving in our area safer and healthier because of it. It is difficult to get around on our winding roads, and now that it's raining, we're going to really notice it coming and going. And I'd like to suggest that the county, in its efforts to make our roads up here safer, launch a safety campaign and remind everyone that it is unsafe to drive under the influence of alcohol and marijuana, and that doing so will really affect what happens up here on our roads. Remembering that marijuana use slows reaction time and impairs memory and affects coordination. And these are skills that we all need for driving. Anything that you can do, County Board of Supervisors, to work with the population up here to help our people understand the role that marijuana and alcohol and other drug-impaired driving and how it affects us up here. We have winding roads and roads that aren't very well lit. We could really use a good campaign. Perhaps the sheriff could assist you in getting these messages out and perhaps you could use social media to counter some of the advertising that goes on that doesn't let our young people know how dangerous marijuana use can be to driving. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to our next speaker.
Hi, my name is Justin Castro. I have tried talking to the county, called them thousands and thousands and thousands of times just to hear me out. They refuse to. This is causing major problems with my head, PTSD, increasing. I hope you read the letters.
Can you please pause your time? Tell us which item you're speaking to on the consent agenda?
All of them, because the route of your problem on the housing is stemmed from other issues, which I have recorded that it comes from different problems. You're not solving anything at all. Building more houses, but yet giving all the NGOs so that you can move money. Don't pretend you're not doing that, because you don't even care about the root problems. You go ahead and strengthen the root problem by going ahead and creating more division. That's not a lie. I mean, you go ahead and say we're a racist country. At the same time, you're going to go ahead and wipe Julian Brown out of the history books. He's doing a damn good job making sure that does not happen. But at the same time, your board, is trying to pretend he doesn't exist, which is going to result into giving that into the corporation. They're going to get $800 billion from our landfills, and then they'll be able to go ahead and push the automatic cars. You'll go ahead and bump that up, and then we'll be pushed out of our cars. You won't get the revenue. Yet thousands and thousands of people are going to be homeless, and their responsibility is going to come on the elected officials, while the tech industry is acting like the hero. So who, are we just giving away our power? Is that what you guys are there for? Do you know what you're doing? Or are you just so happy the fact that people are willing to cheat for you to get you elected? That way you won't even address those issues.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Well, there you go, Justin. You're starting to get it, brother. It's all on purpose. And the fact that Tara's just letting you speak, and you just gotta watch everything. That's all I can tell my neighbors in the county. Watch everything. Pay attention. There's a pattern. They know what they're doing, and it's not for us. No, they don't work for us. Okay, here we go. Consent calendar. 3 traffic signals with a 20% contingency fee. That's not a small cushion. Let's see, Rancho, Allegra, Fallbrook, blah. 2 years become 9. Yeah, how does 2 years become 9? How does this keep happening? I'll tell ya. This is a pattern. Government time, slow, delayed, extension after extension, incremental movement so no one reacts unless they're paying attention. And people keep paying for it, and they keep paying for their passiveness and their complacency and all that stuff. That way people like Tara, privileged Tara, get away with so much. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chair Wilson-Riemer, that concludes public comment on the items on the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion by Vice Chair Monroe and a second by Chairperson Naziri. Please vote.
And Chair Wilson-Riemer, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present voting aye.
Okay, thank you so much. So now we'll begin our discussion with item 5, which is public hearing about the ordinance amending the city and county zoning ordinance related to healthcare trailers for boutique wineries and adopt a related CEQA
wineries and healthcare trailers. In 2010, staff updated the zoning ordinance to support wineries within the unincorporated communities. The intent of the amendments was to allow smaller wineries to operate by right without going through discretionary permits. We prepared an environmental impact report and brought the ordinance forward for options. At that time, community concerns were raised about potential impacts to unincorporated communities, and in response, certain restrictions were included in the 2010 ordinance to protect surrounding communities while also facilitating economic development for the wineries. Since that time, there's been growth in the number of wineries in our unincorporated communities. However, several wineries have requested the county conduct another update to our winery regulations to allow additional winery expansions by right. Today's items accomplish the board's direction. However, there will be requests from stakeholders to provide more allowances and flexibility. The biggest constraint we have with supporting a few of those changes is ensuring that the amendments fit within the scope and analysis of the 2010 environmental impact report. As part of this project, staff conducted best practice research and found that the winery regulations proposed for San Diego County are some of the most lenient in the state compared to grape-growing counties such as Napa and Riverside. Most other wine-growing counties do not have any by-right pathway for wineries, and most require a much larger setback from amplified noise. However, we do have another winery ordinance update in the works now, and as part of that, we will continue to explore how wineries can expand into rural residential zones, and as part of that effort, we'll evaluate opportunities for these wineries to continue to expand by-right operations.
Today's updates accomplishes the board direction to allow live music at boutique wineries by right, subject to parameters, and to extend the maximum permitting time for healthcare trailers. First, we will discuss the proposed amendments to allow amplified live music at boutique wineries. The draft zoning amendments were informed by extensive public outreach and engagement. The first phase of outreach raised public awareness of the project. Next, analysis, best practices research, and case studies of live music at San Diego County wineries were undertaken to inform the draft ordinance. The draft ordinance was released for public review from July 21st through September 15th, 2025. Staff conducted in-person and virtual outreach with community planning and sponsor groups, the Farm Bureau, representatives from local wineries, local musicians, the Ramona Chamber of Commerce, Ramona Valley Vineyard Association, and the general public. Following public review, additional revisions were incorporated, reflecting public feedback. The proposed amendments achieve board direction and respond to additional requests from winery stakeholders. Some key themes of public input from agriculture and winery stakeholders included requests to reduce or remove setback requirements for noise and instead refer to required compliance with the noise ordinance, to allow additional activities and events at boutique wineries, and concerns were raised about maximum seating limits for outdoor eating areas. Many, but not all, of the key concerns of winery stakeholders have been addressed, as amendments consider changes to support more flexibility and allowances for wineries, while maintaining the by right use and ensuring ongoing compatibility with surrounding communities. Noise being the main concern associated with allowing amplified live music by right, the draft ordinance requires music to be set back a certain distance from the property line to ensure compliance with noise ordinance standards. Required setback distances vary based on the noise levels generated, with louder noise requiring a larger setback. Required setbacks will ensure that amplified music does not exceed noise ordinance limits at the property line. The minimum required setback is 200 feet, which would typically be adequate to attenuate the sound levels generated by choir musicians, such as a single or duo musician. Since the required setback distances are based on conservative model assumptions, the ordinance includes a provision that would allow winery operators the option of applying for a ministerial zoning verification permit to request a reduction in the standard setbacks defined in the ordinance. This process would require submittal of a noise technical analysis by a county-approved consultant and payment of a flat fee for processing the request. A reduction in the standard setback setback would only be approved if the noise study is able to demonstrate compliance with property line noise standards. Other changes to the boutique winery regulations clarify allowable activities and gatherings at boutique wineries. Allowed activities include wine cells, tasting and production, agricultural instruction, and educational tours. The ordinance amendments clarify that allowable activities can be ticketed, open to the public or private, and can be accompanied by amplified music. Clarifications are also provided to remove a limitation on the number of outdoor tables allowed. Site occupancy is out. In summary, the proposed changes to the boutique winery regulations would add new by right allowances, including new allowances for outdoor amplified live music subject to certain limitations, flexibility for allowed winery activities, including clarifying that allowed activities can be ticketed and that the winery can be closed to the public for special activities like wine clubs. Finally, language that limited outdoor seating to up to 5 tables or 20 people was removed, improving and clarifying how occupancy is established. These changes achieve board direction and add additional ordinance revisions reflecting stakeholder feedback. While even more flexibility is desired by winery stakeholders, staff have incorporated as much flexibility as possible considering the environmental analysis conducted as part of the 2010 Environmental Impact Report.
Now we'll shift to a discussion of the second project component, which addresses regulations for healthcare trailers. A healthcare trailer, as defined in the zoning ordinance, is a dwelling for temporary healthcare on a lot of an existing home. The trailer is exclusively for temporary occupancy by either providers of healthcare required by an occupant of the main dwelling or relatives of an occupant of the main dwelling who require healthcare directed by a healthcare service provider. Currently, a healthcare trailer requires issuance of a building permit, and that permit must be renewed annually, including providing an updated certificate of need signed by a physician on an annual basis. The proposed amendments would allow healthcare trailers to be permitted for up to 5 years, depending on the duration noted in the physician's certificate of need. Another update would clarify the requirement for wastewater treatment. The current zoning ordinance requires healthcare trailers to be connected to utilities. The proposed amendment would clarify that permitting of a septic system is required if a sewer connection is not available. There was no major opposition related to the amendments for the healthcare trailers. Staff recommends that the Board of Supervisors find that the project complies with the California Environmental Quality Act and state and county CEQA guidelines, and approve the ordinance found in clean format as attachment A and in strikeout out unmarked format in attachment B. This concludes staff's presentation, and we're available for any questions.
Supervisor.
I was leading to the public comment, comments on this.
Okay. You'd like to speak after public comment?
Yeah.
Sure. I actually have a question for staff. So first of all, thank you. Super helpful, super comprehensive. I'm just kind of trying to get a better handle on that. And this is a broad question I'm going to be asking more generally as these kind of reports come forward, so it's not about this in particular. But how, like, I know this is a request of the board to look into this. I appreciate the hard work. I wanted to just get a sense of how much time did this take you all, and like what was sort of staff hour cost when we make these sorts of requests?
Sure, I'm trying to see if we have that information. No, we certainly return to you. But I will say broadly, these are heavy lifts because of the community engagement involved, and we really take that seriously and do quite a bit of extensive outreach and follow.
If we don't have it, or maybe by the time we finish public comment, maybe we can get sort of after the envelope. I mean, I'm, you know, we're as we kind of look at budget and moving to budget and acknowledging sort of the challenge for the budget situation we're in, I'm really just very cognizant of, you know, what are we asking of our team and what are the costs that might be hidden of some of the endeavors that we're undertaking.
We can certainly accomplish that by the time we just started.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll go ahead and move to public comment. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair Lawson. Remember, we have 12 total requests to speak, 6 individuals in person and 6 requesting to speak by phone. Also, like to note for the record, we did receive 2 For any individual that requests to speak on this item by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll go ahead and begin with in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand on the arrows until it is your turn to speak at the podium. You will then have 1 minute to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the audio record. I will call on individuals in groups of 3, so please listen for your name. Allegedly Audra, Andy, I believe it's Lyle, and Cesar Javier. Come forward to me.
You guys like micromanaging everybody? It's interesting to see the things that you guys work on and whatnot, and what requirements you bring in, especially for these healthcare trailers, like all of these requirements. So if you need healthcare, the county's got to get involved and get your permits because it's going to get you guys some money, right? And then, you know, you could, if they violate it, you could charge them more money. You could potentially just go take the trailer and then, you know, who cares? When people die or animals or just anything really. Maybe if it was somebody in your family, you probably would, but not if it's not, it really doesn't matter. But just even and get permits for a septic. I mean, when can people just kind of live their life without you guys coming in and destroying it? I'm just wondering if at some point you guys would like to resign just on your own before you're taken to prison. No? That's okay, because you do have a jail.
Well, thank God, because I need a trailer truck for my patient. But we are in a residential zone, city of San Diego. How could the policy now be adequate, efficient, not only for the rural setting, but in our setting? District 9, under Mr. Citizen Rivera. My God, let's study this. We are after priority on homelessness, shelter, priority on health and safety, Tijuana River, Valley, crisis. What policy, land use policy, would we craft to answer these sufferings? Thank you, God, thank you.
Good morning, Chair Boss Reamer and Supervisors. My name is Andy Lyle. I'm the Land Use Committee Chair for the San Diego County Farm Bureau. So it's been a pleasure working with county staff on this the last few months. So the boutique wineries show like the charm and great atmosphere we have here in San Diego County for ag tourism and for small family businesses to show tourists and the community residents the beauty that our county has to offer. So I really thank you for looking at this item and considering it. We would really like to see these expand as we look into the rural residential and ag tourism policies in the future. And Farm Bureau is always here as a resource, and looking forward to the continued work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll call the next 3 speakers: Mark, Michael Milano, and Sue Robinson.
Mark, I'll just tell you right, it's ridiculous how you're micromanaging. This is what is breaking our funds here in our government. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. It never used to be. You're actually hiring professionals to come out and they have to pay for a permit to say if it's loud, very loud, kind of loud, or that's okay. And most people know that there's already a law against disturbing your neighbors, so this is completely unnecessary. People need to, it's planned though, people need to see this video. She's an absolute expert in land use and property documentation. She And these are some times people need to see this, because this is Agenda 21 being implemented, micromanaging everything. Until people get paid and everyone gets ripped off, and it's stuff we don't want or need. And 1 minute is against the Brown Act. It's not even an acceptable amount of time for anything. 12 people instead of 10, 1 minute.
I am the president of the Pomona Valley Vineyard Association. My name is Susan Robinson. Our association is supporting the changes to the ordinance for the boutique wineries at this point. It is moving us forward, and it's allowing our small wineries to have music, which is a huge enhancement for our boutique wineries. And we would like to see it move forward. And we have worked hard with the county, all of you. Seen a lot of each other for a while, and therefore we'd like to see it move on. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Wasserman, staff and board. I'm Mike Milano. I'm a third-generation Cutbar farmer, vineyard grower, and budding and hoping to be wine maker. First off, I want to thank the board for all their commitment to helping us expand agricultural economies in San Diego County. We all recognize today that the economy is suffering. The hills are not covered with the avocados and citrus trees as they have in the past. And the only way we can expand and continue to be impactful in agriculture is to look at these new endeavors, like vineyards and wineries. I really applaud the staff for the work that they've done to this point to get the noise and music issue brought forward. We are generally supportive, and when I say this, I'm speaking on behalf of Farm Bureau. We are generally supportive of the initiative to where it is today. There are a few sticking points that several members have brought forward that they are concerned about. And so I think our request of the board today is give direction to staff on how to clean up the final missing pieces. Thank you.
All right, we will now hear from those that have requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted, and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments. Begin with our first caller.
Thank you again for letting me speak. This is Catherine Lippett. It's confusing why you conflated both the winery ordinance and health trailers. They seem to have nothing to do with each other. However, residents have been complaining about the live music from wineries that go on 365 days a year for 10 hours a day sometimes. It interferes with their quiet enjoyment of their home. Montserrat Winery is allowed to play amplified music from inside their building, and neighbors 2,500 feet away are unable to go outside, have their windows open, and enjoy the sunset, the quiet night. This is intolerable, and the county claims that the noise is compliant with the noise ordinance. Then clearly the noise ordinance needs to be addressed, because that is a problem if they are in compliance and neighbors are being bothered by it. And
thank you. Your time is up. We'll go ahead and go to our next speaker.
Although wineries do not belong in the residential areas where kids, pets, and drunks can get at them with all the health and social effects of that would cause, don't change the zoning if that's what you want to do. Section 6118.B.3E, instead of saying just the trailers shall be removed, I suggest that time period like shall be removed within a month to tamp down the neighborhood squabbles of how long the trailers can remain. Same with section 60, 118, D1 and 2. Section 6910.B.7, time limits are reasonable, basically during working hours, but I think that karaoke within the 50 decibel limit. Indeed, accompanying the music in some ways, the sort of.
Thank you. Your time is up. Go to our next call.
My name is Justin Canister. Could you please stop trying to kick me out of the unit by giving me the message? And then regarding the agriculture, we used to have oranges and avocados. Then you guys started making rules and cutting their water supply. Now they have to come up with different ways, and now we're basically alcoholics. We've changed all of those fields into wineries. We're not contributing anything. You're just taking away from people, and then you're making it, and then you just put band-aids on the problems that you create without even addressing the core issues. And here's another example. You're willing to go in and talk to people that you like, sit down, have long conversations and all that stuff, but people that point out